Start with Michelle in the back.
Hey Debo, you said yesterday that this was the toughest year in your 16-year NBA career. When you tack on the last 11 hours, just your reaction to Monty being mutually agreeing to part ways, and then now the hiring of Scott Perry?
I mean, it's one of those things I think is just indicative of kind of the season that we had to endure from top to bottom. You know, still kind of really haven't set in yet. You know, really what happened from from Mike was fired to nowadays with us just losing last night. Coming down to the fact that there's no more games right now. So it's definitely been a year.
DeMar, just
I mean, it's difficult. It's frustrating. It's emotional. I mean, it's everything when I only can speak for myself. Like I put so much time, effort, preparation, sacrifice into the game of basketball. As much as I care for it, as much as I live it. You know, it's hurtful when you just don't give yourself an opportunity to play for what matters, and that's to make it to the playoffs, give yourself a chance, and not knowing what could have happened. It sucks, especially when it's a scary thing when you just realize like this is summer for me to get prepared for my 17th season. Some of my favorite players that I grew up watching. You don't even get close to that number. And to know going into that the window closing. It ain't like this job is like being a teacher or being a reporter where y'all do this as long as you can. So for me, that's where the frustration and the emotional side of it come from.
Debo, I know you said that you're going to take a little bit of time off and try to reevaluate your future, but what factors are you thinking about when it comes to being here in Sacramento long term and thinking about your 17th season next year?
Just a structure of and a foundation of a compete level. I think all year we had such an uncertainty of of everything. You can't really operate in any successful environment if you have so much uncertainty. I think for me, just the certainty of what it's going to be going forward. And I can always work with that. Um, just the certainty. As long as you put something on the table, this is what it is. This was going to be. This is what we're competing with. I can work with that. But the uncertainty for me has always been the frustrating part.
When you talk about setting the tables, that's what they have to. That's what this organization has to do right now. One of the pieces we're kind of looking at is the uncertainty or the future of Doug Christie. We had to come in and learn things on the fly and work with you guys, and and try to get you guys stabilized and everything. Just wanted to get your thoughts, on working with him, as a professional, and him working under those extreme circumstances.
I got all the respect and love for Doug, and I had a relationship with Doug years ago, way before I even ever thought he'd be a coach or I'll be in Sacramento. So respect and love I have for him is unlimited, and to see him thrown in a position he was thrown in and be able to kind of rally us together when everything was kind of so chaotic. He held his own. First time being in that position with so many uncertainties, like I said, going on. He kept us together. That says a lot. That says the capability that he has to be able to bond a team together, and him just being an ex-player as well. like I said, I got nothing but the utmost respect for the job that he did under the circumstances.
Debo, obviously, this was a difficult year for everybody. You've talked about, it being the most difficult for you. But coaches get fired and players get traded and these things every year. Just wondering if you can kind of illuminate a little bit, like on just what made this so difficult. What kind of factors were at play that made you feel that way?
I mean, first time in my career I've dealt with a firing of a coach middle of the season. I've never had that before, so that alone was a first. I just stick with that. I never had that, like coming in and you having your mindset on this one particular thing. Speaking about a coach, he gets fired. Have a GM leave throughout the season. Have a assistant coach leave out throughout the middle of the season. A lot of those things was definitely a first. A lot of stuff that people on the outside may not understand what we go through internally, what we see every day, that people we got to deal with every single day. To see him here and then all of a sudden see him gone, the aura of so many changes like that could change internally that people don't get to see. So that can make it definitely difficult.
Because of that, just along those lines, does it create, hindsight's 2020, but does it create any regret?
No, I don't regret nothing. I don't regret anything. I don't think you can live life with regrets. You just try to learn from it. Nobody never want to take the hard road by choice, but that road came, and now what you do with the experience that you gain from it, that's how I kind of view it.
DeMar, this season, obviously, you guys, we're talking about all these changes that took place. On the court, do you think if this team had like a full season, a training camp, get prepared for a season, do you think this group has the chemistry and the skill set to really compete at a high level, or do you think that some tweaks need to be made?
I mean, tweaks always need to be made to be consistent. I think we had enough to be able to compete, but to do it on a consistent nightly basis, definitely have to be tweaks that need to be made that fit perfectly. Like I said, we competed with the best teams. We beat Boston, we beat Cleveland twice, but on a consistent level, to create the right tweaks need to be made so you can do it on a consistent basis. So other than that, we got talented guys, we got guys that's competitors, and at the end of the day, it's the NBA. We're gonna be able to win games, but to win enough games to put yourself in not just a playing spot, right there tell you tweaks need to be made.
DeMar, I'd like to ask you about Keegan. A little bit of an up and down season for him, like many others. A lot of inconsistencies offensively for him, but obviously we all see the upside for him as a two-way player. Just, I guess, can you just evaluate his season and maybe his ceiling?
Felt like, Keegan came a long way from an aggressive standpoint. I think the second half of the season, he became more aggressive. We kind of pushed him more. I don't think he has a ceiling. I think, his capability is definitely unlimited. I feel like, hope I get to spend a lot of time with him this summer, just to really push him, to that next level that I think he needs, and so you can see the Keegan Murray that everybody expect of him come next year. So, I think for me, that's kind of like my main priority is to be able to spend a lot of time with Keegan this summer.
Malik Monk, how much impact of not having him, on the court to play with y'all, and his
How dynamic Malik is offensively, and being a playmaker, scorer, big shot maker, big shot taker, that alleviates a lot of pressure, off everybody else, whether if it's me, Zach, Keon, Domas, losing that, you're talking about a guy that could, get you 30 points, a guy who get you 10, 11 assists. guy that could change the game in a lot of ways with his excitement. You know, not having that out there those last couple of games, you know, it showed, you know, because a game like last night would have been a perfect game that, you know, we needed in the league that we've been seeing all summer. I mean, all season.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, tomorrow.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Have a good off season.